The rolling periodic agreement, what this means is that tenants are no longer going to be locked into the fixed term tenancy agreement, and they can stay as long as they want, provided they follow the correct notice rules. So that's the first one. The second change is tenants can leave within 2 months notice. So all they need to do, instead of the fixed term tenancy, they need to give 2 months notice. Provided that's given, they can move. So that what that does, it gives tenants much more flexibility to move when they want to. However, landlords need to be prepared for more frequent tenant turnover and possibly void period. So you need to be prepared for that. The third change is tenants have to have right to request pets. This has actually just happened to me. One of my tenants has contacted the management agent saying, I want to keep my pet for a week in my room whilst my parents travel on holiday. Come May, the tenants would now have a legal right to request permission to keep a pet. Landlords can still refuse this though, but they must have a very good reason for doing so. The number 4 is that stricter rent increases will be looked into. So there will be stricter rent increase rules where rent increase are also going to be tightened. So you can't just increase your rent when you feel like. Rent can only be increased once per year. Landlords must also give 2 months notice before this is done. The increase must also follow the proper legal procedure. Well, the goal of this is to prevent tenants from having this sudden or excessive rent hike. That's number 4. The 5th one is that tenants can challenge rent increase. So if they think it's too high, they can challenge it. So if a tenant believes the increase is unfair, they can challenge this through an independent tribunal. And the independent tribunal will look at this and say, I would approve the increase, or it will reduce the increase, or block it altogether. The 6th one is a limit on rent paid in advance. This is another major rule and restriction on large rent advances, because that's something some people use at the moment and say they want you to pay 6 months up front, and they kind of use that in terms of taking tenants on in their property. So under the new legislations, landlords generally cannot request more than 1 month's rent in advance. And finally, the landlords it's mandatory for them to join a government-approved landlord ombudsman scheme. That is very important. This means tenants will have an official route to complain about landlords, and the ombudsman will be able to investigate any disputes or be able to put in a resolution where necessary. So my final thoughts about the Renters' Right Act 2025 is it represents one of the biggest shifts in the UK rental market in decades. While the aim is to improve security and fairness for tenants, landlords will need to adapt to a number of new regulations. Understanding these changes now could help you avoid costly mistakes later. So do look into it. If you're a property investor, if you have properties that you rent out, you need to look into the Renters' Right Act 2025 coming out imminently. If you found this really helpful, make sure you like the video and subscribe for more updates on property investment and property in general, UK housing law, and let me know your comments. Do share this with anyone that needs it, and I hope this has helped. All the best with the new act coming into play soon. Thank you.